Hi everyone, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. How are you all? Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. It's Thursday morning here and I thought I would start my day with a reading for my viewers. I just want to thank those that have donated to the channel, also for your wonderful comments. I read obviously every one of them and I'm really grateful for the support of the channel. Okay, so I'm going to read on the Delta variant today. I did say that I would be doing that. I want to know, can we get on top of it? Now, for some of, most of you in America, or my viewers anyway, have generally been vaccinated. In Australia, of course, we've got this slow vaccine rollouts, and you're seeing the result of that slowness right now as Delta kind of gets out of control in my home state. Indonesia has been hit really, really hard with the Delta variant. India, as you know, was, decimated by it. The southern states that are not that don't have those high vaccination numbers in America are now seeing they're reaping what they sow, those Republican governors. And I go to Tennessee, absolutely abject abandonment of their duty of care as leaders to be turning away vaccination help. And, as a result, of course, people are dying. Now again, seeing stories coming out of America of people who didn't think the virus was real and then caught it. And before they died, their last thoughts were around, gosh, I didn't think this was real. If I had have known, I would have gotten vaccinated. There is a study in Israel. Now, I don't know how robust it is. Some of the science behind it has been questioned, but Israel has a very high rate of vaccination of its population, yet Delta is breaking out there. And that prompted Pfizer to then say, well, we're going to develop a booster shot. The American government said, look, it's our FDA that determines these things, not our pharmaceuticals. So the Delta variant, I want to see if we can get on top of it generally for every country, including the UK, that is battling with a second, third wave of the virus, and whether there'll be any more strains, variants coming up that are worse than Delta, and will our vaccinations hold? Intuitively, I feel they will. But I want to look at the cards on that. I then want to go to the Texas voters, voter suppression, and the Texas Democratic Party that actually did a runner and had to leave the state to block the legislation. The only thing that is going to stop this voter suppression, of course, is if they remove the filibuster. I've always gotten good cards for voting rights, and I to this day I'm a bit bamboozled by why they are so good. But is it because they removed the filibuster? We'll ask that question. If we can, I want to throw on Biden's 72-point plan to break up big business monopolies, create more openness and fairness in business across big tech, pharmaceuticals. Will that, it's an executive order, but will that make a difference? And I'm hoping that will have a flow-on effect through Western democracies. But first, if we can get to all that, we'll be lucky. But first, let's just take a look at messages from Spirit for whenever we're watching, for those that need to hear them, messages from Spirit. Rest and renewal, Garden of Venus. Yeah, well, that's good counsel at any time. If you're going very quickly, if you're having to meet the burdens of work and health and whatever else is creating franticness in your life, you can manage better all round if you pace yourself. It was a lesson I didn't quite fully understand until I got older, that you are allowed to pace yourself. In fact, you're more than allowed. It is actually absolutely essential that you get your rest, that you pace yourself. So that's a lesson to be learned for somebody that's watching here. Now, I keep getting resourcefulness, which is great. The horned cactus. I'm using the Shaman's Dream Oracle, by the way. Number 29, resourcefulness. I'm getting a pull that sometimes we think resourcefulness only relates to us, what we've got. But I'm getting a divine assistance here very strongly with this card. And fortune's wheel, luck and right timing, absolutely. There is, I keep using that analogy of the wind in the sails. A lot of what we're seeing coming to the surface now is pretty horrible. And in fact, I was just speaking to one of my colleagues about the situation in Canada and the Catholic Church and the burial of all those native children, the Indigenous children on their big burial sites. I'm sure if they did the same to many sites in Australia, we'd probably find the same thing. And it's particularly, it particularly is, drips like acid when you think that the Catholic Church, came together in America, the bishops came together in America to try and take communion away from Biden, but all across evangelicals, they want to take the right away to have an abortion, yet their history is so full of unspeakable evils. And so I find it difficult to reconciliate the idea of religion and morality sometimes. The church and morality. Okay, that's my soapbox for the day. The root girl, the disowned self. Yeah, well, lost compass, getting back to integrity. These are energies at the base of the pack. Treasures hidden in the shadows. A lot is coming to the surface that we have to see, no matter where it is and what it is. We're seeing it. And so it's making us dig deep, really, around our resourcefulness. So luck and timing are two of the key messages, along with rest and renewal. Let's get started on the Delta variant. I'm using my Cosmic Tarot now. Can we get this Delta variant under control? Can we get this Delta variant under control? Can we get this Delta variant under control? I say vaccinations are the only way out of this, but there's something else, because I'm seeing like a 3-point plan. So it will take a concerted effort. It's not just we'll vaccinate our country, we're out of immediate danger, we don't need to worry about anybody else. Variants developed in unvaccinated populations. Okay, so this is a question we all need to consider, vaccination or not. Okay, so can we get this Delta? Can the world get the Delta variant under control? It's even morphed to Delta Plus now. Can we get a lot of light coming in there? Can we get this Delta variant under control? Three of Wands. There's the 3-point plan. It will take everybody coming together and vaccinating. I know that the WHO came out and said when Pfizer was talking about booster shots, don't even worry about that right now. Let's get everybody vaccinated with 2 shots. 3 of Wands. We've done a lot of work. It's I guess people slide into the worst case scenario, but we have done a lot of work here in setting things up for the future. 5 of Swords. So unfortunately, this kind of abuse of power, the vaccination wars, I've got mine, so you can't get yours, this division, the haves and the have-nots. It's division, discrimination comes about from division, wrong use of power from division. And it's a playbook really now. Division is a playbook. But that's what's thwarting us, that we can't come together. And I go to the United States, that the politicization of COVID is just so tragic. So tragic. So abuse of power. Abuse of power is what is stopping us coming together. Queen of Pentacles. This is the foundation of the reading. It's quite a good card. It talks about stability, getting stability back, getting things back to as close to what we had before as what we did if we come together. Four of Cups in the past. Yeah, there's a lot of disappointment. You know, it's almost like it's so complex you wonder if we can ever get on top of it, because we're dealing with the complexities of people's emotions. And as I said, the politics of it all. The Four of Wands coming together as a community. These are all really idealistic cards, but there is a potential here that if we come together, we can protect ourselves. And there's that triangle there. So this is like an Egyptian type of scene. 3-point plan coming together. That's interesting that I got that image. You know, what is a triangle? But the base is very strong. Six of Pentacles, yeah. Giving and receiving help. This is about getting other countries vaccinated. That's what that's about. It's like we won't be rid of it until we help other countries get vaccinated. And unfortunately, if the lesson is going to be learned in some of those red states that where their governors are deliberately undermining and sabotaging vaccination, the lesson is going to be learnt by the power being taken away from them. How is the power going to be taken away from them? People are going to die and demand better. So it's that in itself is a political process. The Three of Cups. We've got a lot of threes coming out here. This is in the here and now, coming together, circles of support. I'm just getting the same message. The Emperor, taking control, good leadership, making sure neighbouring countries are vaccinated. Australia has sent some of its AstraZeneca to Indonesia. I'm a bit cynical about that. I'm pretty sure that because we've got lots of AstraZeneca and nothing else, and it can't be given to those under 40, I think we're being generous here. But nevertheless, countries like Indonesia can at least get their over 40s vaccinated. So it's about looking after each other in the here and now. The fear and the hope position, the King of Pentacles. Pharmaceutical Pfizer talking about a third dose is a good example of that. Had America maybe had a different leader, the leadership at the time, we might have got this under control sooner. So really this is about reaping what we sow. King of Wands, yes, but it's going to take good leadership. Bold, courageous, good leadership. So I don't see this getting under control for in 2021. The Ten of Cups, voters voting in good leadership will be what solves this. And I know we're a long way from that. The Hanged Man at the moment, we're in this trance-like state where we need to really take a good hard look at what we have sown and why. But this is actually going to take us forward, believe it or not. So in terms of the variant, it looks like we're going to get it under control, providing we've got that good leadership in place. The Hierophant, the government, the higher self is at the base of the pack, and the victory of government. So this, what needs to emerge will come to the surface. So what is going on in Tennessee, for example, tells us about that governor there and what is motivating him. And it's interesting, you know, around perspective, and this goes for us all. We think we've got the right perspective, and then something comes along that says it's never that delineated. It's always about what is layered around us. It's all about the complexity, and acknowledging that, and moving through that. That's what leadership is about. So let's take a look at whether or not the current vaccines will hold against any future strains of COVID. Will the current vaccines hold against future strains of COVID? So I've got this people pulling things. So it's going to take a lot of work, again, getting everybody vaccinated. Will the current vaccinations, hold against all strains of COVID? Yes, they will. So that's good to know. They are going to hold. Queen of Wands. Yeah. Yep, they are. So our current challenge to defend ourselves is around getting everybody vaccinated. So it's worth staying in touch with those countries, or being aware that not everybody is vaccinated, and that is going to cause us, that's going to come back to us. That'll come back to our doorstep. One way or another, it will. And so everybody has this role in helping others get vaccinated. So let's take a look at Texas. I'm thinking I might change decks for this one. Texas. I'll use the Gilded Tarot. I don't usually do this, but I just feel I should on this question. Cairo Marchetti's Gilded Tarot. Texas. Show me Texas. Texas voter suppression. I did a reading in another forum earlier on in the week on this, and it is a big pile of manure, as one of my viewers suggested I substitute that word. It is going to need, I predicted that Biden would step up. He has this week, but his hands are tied. This is Congress moving some kind of voter legislation, but it is probably the biggest partisan issue there that is there, and it affects 2022. So it's I rock and a hard place is really an understatement. But let's see if they're going to really, I think this will be about busting the filibuster, or putting it aside for this particular question or legislation, and they would need to get Manchin and Sinema on board. So let's take a look. First of all, what's going to happen in Texas? So the governor there has said he will arrest these Democrats when they come back to the state. They're currently in DC. They said they'll stay out until August, beginning of August. But the governor said we'll just keep bringing that bill back again in a special session. So what is going to happen, please, in Texas? What is going to happen in Texas? It's a very real threat. So we've got, this kind of delusional behaviour, when nobody's really thinking straight. They're not making the right choices. This is Trump's influence. And we've got, fears. He drummed up the big lie. He drummed up that scenario. And these people who believe COVID isn't real, and then they find out in the ICU just before departing, that it is real. They honestly believe in the big lie, and they honestly fear. What is driving a lot of this voter suppression? Yes, it's calculating political leaders, but it's also fear coming from their base, and that's what they're hearing. That's why they're justifying what they're doing. The Moon card, a lot needs to come to the surface. It is a big pile of manure there, and of course this fits in with the pattern of our times where we're seeing this. It's like it's being seen so that we can actually do something about it. But there is a lot of emotion around this. The King of Swords in the past. Yeah, it's in the past though. It's like they've lost their, can I just say they've lost their marbles over this. It's like lunacy. I'm afraid to say that's what the vibe these cards are giving me. The Page of Wands in the sky. There will be some progress, but this is also movement here. In the immediate future, we've got the Four of Wands, which is my card for the Democrats. There's going to be some movement forward here. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, no. But then we get the Hangman clarifying this. The Democrats have done this only what they could against this lunacy, and that is to stay away from Texas, to stall it, to suspend it, to stop it. Three of Pentacles. There's a lot of dark money pushing this big lie, and there's a lot of dark money underneath the voter suppression laws. Six of Pentacles in the hopes and fears, giving and receiving help. The big question here is who's being helped? Who needs to be helped? So big business on the one hand and democracy on the other, which brings me to the 72-point plan. There's a victory here. Someone's going to get a victory. What's going to happen here? There's going to be a breakthrough. It's going to be very, very difficult one. But something's going to come forward quite quickly for this breakthrough to occur. That's interesting. Let's see what's at the base of the pack. Plan. Someone putting a plan into place. Looks like it's going to come from Biden. I'm not sure what he's going to do, but here we've got the King of Pentacles. Trump wanting to be the president. Trump's downfall. This is a direct result of the big lie and what was seeded there. It is a crossroads moment, but it looks like there's going to be a breakthrough on this. So I can only assume the filibuster gets pushed aside for this suppression, this legislation, voting rights legislation, to go through. The Supreme Court has said no, they're not going to side with the Democratic Party on this. That it's it's up to the states. So a bailout is not going to happen legally. What is this? What is this? Democratic Party are making it an election issue as well. So what is going on here? Will the filibuster be moved aside for this legislation to get legislation through? Will they successfully get voting rights legislation through? They're manifesting it. It's a yes card. Challenged by moderation. So they're again going to get some form of legislation through. Yes. I tell you, it's really positive cards. King of Swords. There's some kind of strategy that's playing out that has been in the past. We've got the Ten of Swords as a potential in the sky. So the ending of old cycles. This again, the big lie is attached to the last election. The Knight of Pentacles. Sustained effort. Somebody's going to come on board. Mansion or cinema or both are going to come on board with some type of legislation. Queen of Swords always reminds me of Vice President Harris here. Maybe she's going to cast that deciding vote on some form of voting rights legislation. That appears to be what might happen here. Page of Cups. It'll come out as a surprise to us. I think they're working on this in the background. Now the outcome is the King of Pentacles, right? So that was my card for Trump. But we've also got the clarification with the Queen of Pentacles. So that's stabilizing and go and past the higher self. So Maybe this is Manchin and Sinema coming on board with some form of voting rights legislation and pushing the filibuster aside. I think it's going to get done. Now we've got the Empress card here and the Tower, and we've got the Nine of Swords, the fear, the loss, and the betrayal. We've got a way to go before all of this comes to the surface so that we can see it, including what might happen in New York to Donald Trump and what might emerge about Russia's role in American politics over the last 4 or 5 years. Something's going to sway the two senators to put aside their, whatever it is, concerns about the filibuster. Something's going to come forward and they're going to actually vote, put some form of voting rights legislation through. So let's just see. We'll ask directly a couple of cards. I'll get to Biden's 72-point plan in another reading, which I might combine with climate change, and let's see if these initiatives are actually going to work to put us back on a better trajectory, a healthier trajectory, away from self-destruction towards something solid. So let's see, will the filibuster be moved aside? Those are good cards. Again, I got to focus on those two senators. Will the filibuster be moved aside for some form of voting rights legislation? 10 of Cups, coming together. The voter. The 3 of Pentacles, big money. So it's like the voter is being challenged by big money. 8 of Wands, again good cards. Things moving along very quickly. Biden and taking control in the past now. And the Knight of Cups, I'm thinking that this is what might happen. 7 of Pentacles, they're reviewing. There's a review going on. Plan B, going back to the drawing board. The government, what can the government do? And what's around is the truth. The truth emerging that unless something is done, the hope is to move out of these troubled waters. And we've got the 2 of Swords, heavy decisions needing to be made, clarified by the Page of Cups. You're going to be surprised. And the Ace of Cups. You're going to be surprised that these senators who are holding out are actually going to come on board. That's what's going to surprise us. I do believe they will make that heavy decision to put the filibuster aside on this one thing. There is something that Congress will do to get something forward before 2022. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'll be back again. We'll look at Biden's 72-point plan, climate change, other things. I hope you've enjoyed that reading. I'll be back again soon. In the meantime, stay safe, everybody, and bye for now.